Hey there. Hey there, coaches. Good morning. How are you doing? Got my morning coffee. And I wanted to come in here very quickly and talk to you about this thing. What's going on in your noggin, your mindset? This is so important. And I feel like this topic is something I could talk about all day, every day, because it is absolutely pivotal to your success. So, I can guarantee that if you're feeling bad, if you are beating yourself up about stuff, you're having a hard time, taking action or making a decision, or maybe it's not that you're having a hard time taking action, but you're actually working yourself into the ground, working yourself to the point of burnout. That stems from an equally destructive mindset. But I really want to talk to you if you are struggling in some way, and you're, feeling bad, beating yourself up, you're not seeing results, then you can wind up in this vicious loop, right? Where you're having really crappy thoughts. Those crappy thoughts make you feel constricted, contracted. They make you feel awful. And then when you feel awful, that determines the actions you're going to take, the behaviors, which aren't going to be very constructive and productive. And of course, that behavior, those actions, they determine your results. They drive your results. And so as you look at those results and they fall short of what it is you want and what you were hoping for, you then start having crappy thoughts again. So you kind of go around this loop where your thoughts drive your feelings determine your actions and your behaviors, and your actions and behaviors produce the result. And round the loop you go. And so it's critical to break that loop at the point of your thoughts, at the point of thinking, because at the point of mindset, this is where your power is. This is where your power is to create change, to create the results you want. So it all starts in your mindset, what your mindset is doing at any point in time. So I want to share with you three quick insights, and hopefully this will help you create some shift in how you're thinking so that you can start to feel more powerful, more confident, more courageous, and really sort of tap in and feel more connected to who you really, truly are, which is ultimately limitless. And so the first thing I want to talk about, I've got my whiteboard here, and the first thing I want to talk about that is likely to be going on for you right now is what I call mentations. So mentations is that crazy, incessant mind chatter that makes the mind so noisy when you're operating in a state of fear, when you're in a hypervigilant state. That mental mind chatter, it's like affirmations and affirmations, incantations, mantras, but they are negative. They are massively depleting. So it's things like I can't, I won't, it's hard, I don't believe, I'm trying, but I don't want to. All of those like negative energy words and mentations, they actually, it's scientifically proven that they weaken your muscles by up to 50%. Just those words, because all those words, all those thought processes, they carry a frequency, they carry an energy. So when you say can't, it's like a literal instruction to stop growth. I won't literally puts a block in the way, an energetic block, and it might as well be a physical block because it has so much power. It's hard, literally stops you from achieving. All of these things are embedded commands. And, if you go to bed on an evening and you're beating yourself up because you didn't get as much done during the day, then that again sets you up for the next day to have more of the same. It becomes like the self-perpetuating cycle. So you've got to really hone in and tune into what is it I'm saying? How cruel am I being to myself? And how am I limiting myself through these destructive word patterns that I am engaging in? And this is remembering that you have a choice, and you can change. You can change it in a heartbeat. The minute you decide that no more am I going to talk about myself like this, no more am I going to talk smack about me and who I am, and because all of that creates a frequency and a vibration, and it will just self-perpetuate and weaken you. So the words you're saying to yourself, become very, very aware of them and just change them. You know, if you even just, you know, I remember doing a Jack Canfield exercise where we all had to talk about something we perceive that we can't do. And so we partnered up and we were saying, I can't do this. So, for example, one example is I can't give up smoking. And that's something you hear a lot, people who are, you know, addicted to cigarettes. I can't give up smoking. And he said, once you've kind of found that thing that you say, I can't do, just change the word to I won't. And then see how that feels in your body. I won't give up smoking. All of a sudden, it kind of creates this shift of like, well, I can, but I'm clearly choosing not to. And knowing what it does to me, or knowing that I actually don't want this behavior, then, and I'm knowing that right now I'm choosing not to by I won't, then that feels really silly. That feels very disempowering and not very, you know, life enhancing. So then you can start to create that change. So even going from I can't to I won't, and then see what that feels like in your body and start to create that change. Just be very aware. What are you mentating? Start to insert, plug in affirmations instead, positive incantations. Very, very powerful. So the second thing is what, oh, hang on. Let me just clean that up. What of these are you playing over and over and over? Can you see that? Mental movies. That's what that says. Mental movies. So this is, you know, if there's something that you want to do, or you're holding yourself back through fear, you know, you want to make a decision about something, you've got some action to take, you want to launch something, or you want to do your first ever live stream, whatever it is, and you are not doing it, what is the mental movie that you are playing to yourself over and over that is stopping you, that is keeping you in fear? I can guarantee that, you know, if you're not launching something, or, you know, or putting yourself out there in a really big way, you're probably creating this mental movie of people like laughing at you, or an experience when you were at school where you were put down by a teacher when you stood up to speak in class, or you've got some mental movie going on. If you are looking at your debt, for example, and it's really triggering you and keeping you small and keeping you in that fear state, hypervigilant state, again, what are you picturing? Are you picturing your children, you know, hungry and poverty stricken, and the house being repossessed, and, you know, again, naysayers pointing and laughing at you saying, I told you so? Whatever your mental movie is, just take a step back from it and observe it for what it is. You know, you'll often know what your mental movie is playing if you've got some situation that is keeping you stuck, and listen to what you're saying around, that follows what if. This is often a really good clue that will give you a sign of what is the mental movie I'm playing. So, you know, it's be like, yeah, but what if this happens? And what if that happens? And yeah, but what if, you know, I do this? And what if I cock up? And what if I get a complaint? And what if? When you look at what comes after your what ifs, you will then start to see the mental movies you are playing out. And I guarantee they will be overblown, inflated, exaggerated, and very, very destructive to your ability to step into your power and take this aligned action that, you know, your soul is calling you to this. So the key with this one is, again, it's stepping back, observing it for what it is, and then deciding, using your power of your vision and your imagination. You can play any movie you want. Just choose, decide, and then play a new one. If you need help with that, then that's when vision boards are really powerful, or you can, you know, look on YouTube for some inspiration. But honestly, change the mental movie, because that is what's going to be keeping you kind of like, you know, shivering in the back of your cave, thinking there's a big hairy bear at the entrance, when there is not. There really isn't. Okay, so what's on the other side of you stepping out, playing a new mental movie, and then taking action? What's on the other side is your greatness, your power. So, okay, so the third thing after mentating, scrap that, change your mental movie, is actually a funny one. And this is motivation. Motivation, it's great. it can help you in the moment. And we were having a conversation about this yesterday. A client was saying to me that she'll often talk about, she'll often say to her clients as she's kind of signing them on, I can show you what to do and I can guide you, but I can't build your biceps for you. You have to pick up those weights and build the biceps for you. And I thought that was a great kind of just an expression. And it's so true, because in the moment you can get that shot of motivation. You can feel motivated and it feels great and exciting, but it doesn't guarantee that you'll follow through. It's not long lasting. It doesn't see you kind of leaping out of bed every morning and taking massive action. It's a nice shot every now and again, but it's quite hard work to sustain and maintain. It'll get you over kind of maybe a first hurdle, but it won't sustain you. So it's deciphering the difference between being driven by trying to motivate yourself and actually being driven by inspiration, being inspired in spirit. Being inspired, it means knowing exactly what is your driving force. What is it that is the bigger, deeper meaning behind what it is you want to achieve? So again, to take an example of, say, doing live stream, if that's something that you hold back from, you're afraid of being truly visible, you're afraid of kind of standing in your power and expressing your authentic voice and all of that, going underneath to what it really would mean if you crossed that threshold and actually did it. What would that mean for you as a stepping into your soul, answering your calling? What would that mean for your children, to see you as a role model, to give them the inspiration, the role model, that power for them to, and permission, that was the word I was looking for, to give them permission to also step into their power. So you can start to see that there is some great driving inspiration beneath what it is you want to do. There's a reason it's calling you. There's a reason you feel like that burning desire to do it. And it's because it's a sense of purpose. So you've got to find that purpose and use that to drive you every day, as opposed to waking up in a slump, having a few mentations, playing your mental movie, and then trying to force yourself into action with some, hardcore motivation from YouTube. You don't need that. All you need is to tap into what it is that inspires you into action. And that's tapping into your core why, that driving force behind your business. Okay, guys, so I hope you found this helpful. I hope, it created some shift for you. If you're watching the replay, that this is just like made you think, yeah, I can see now what's keeping me stuck. It's the movies I'm playing, or yeah, my mantra is I can't. I need to flip that. Whatever it is for you, just, consider this and create those changes, because your ideal clients are waiting for you to show up, literally waiting for you. So have a great rest of your day. Sending you loads of love as always. And I shall speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.